Right, hello everyone. Hopefully you can see me and now hear me. Thanks, Jenny and Paul, for introducing Mercury. Paul, Mercury as a whole, and Jenny at the Durain Quadrangle, which is immediately south of the Hokusai Quadrangle, which I'm going to talk about here. So I'm happy to report that the Hokusai Quadrangle map that you see here is published in two versions, in one paper in the Journal of Maps, and the version you see here has the craters subdivided into 5 classes, just as Jenny's map was divided into 5 classes. And you get to see the whole thing here with surface units, craters mapped according to their degradation state, according to Mallory's scheme, which I did my very best to adhere to very closely. Before I get stuck in, I need to introduce the project that I'm working in. It's this project that you can see in the banner at the top of the slide called Plan Map. This is a EU Horizon 2020 funded project headed up by a few European institutions, and I'm at the Open University in the United Kingdom, and our responsibility is to produce exemplar geologic maps that will feed into this broader Plan Map project that seeks to get European geologic mappers to produce planetary geologic maps that integrate lots of different data types. So I've produced this geomorphic map of Hokusai, and it is being fed into compositional studies to make it go from a geomorphic map to a compositional integrated map. And then crater counts are going to be used to make it a chronostratigraphic map as well. And then hopefully down the line, a fully integrated geologic map will be produced. And I'm going to talk about, briefly at the start of my talk, a European-wide effort to get all of the quadrangles of Mercury mapped. And so my thanks go to the people in the bottom left of this slide. These are all the lead mappers on various quadrangles, which I can show you on my next slide, please. Yes, so here we have, Paul showed the status update from a wee while ago. This is what I was able to get from my fellow mappers as of a few days ago. So the mid-northern latitude maps there between about 30 and 60 degrees north, those are all published as Journal of Maps papers. My map was reviewed by Dave Williams, who's in the audience today. So thank you, David, for doing that. And the Journal of Maps process is to have 2 science mapper reviewers and 1 cartographic reviewer. So hopefully these maps have been given a really thorough going over, and they're very nice. I certainly think so. And we're working together as a consortium to get all of the boundaries of our quadrangles rectified. So I've been working with Valentina, who did the Victoria map, which was the first one to be published, and we've rectified our boundary, and I will rectify my boundary with my other adjacent mappers. I would just wanted to say that we're deliberately not mapping the Borealis quadrangle because we found out in time that Lillian Ostrak was going to be mapping that quadrangle. There is going to be a bit of a duplication because Chris Maliband is mapping the Durain quadrangle, which Jenny has already mapped, but that's probably all to the good. It'll be interesting to see how those maps line up. And so I would be completely open to talking with Jenny about getting the boundary between our quadrangle rectified. And I'll talk about one potential conversation, shall I say, that we may end up having. So let me move on to the next bit. The next slide, please. So yes, that's just showing you the progress. The mid-latitude ones are all done, and I wasn't able to get shapefiles for Tolstoy or Michelangelo in time, but those ones are getting there as well. And there are specialist maps of Beethoven and Rembrandt that are also complete and awaiting publication as well. And Annie Lennox will start mapping back very shortly. So moving on to the next slide. If we click on here, I'm going to just show you the update post publication. We got a cross section of Hokusai done here, and it was in doing this cross section post publication. You won't get to see that in the paper, sadly. That I had to commit to my definition of what I termed in the original paper intermediate planes. And so this is something Jenny and I will talk about. I think there's a lot of low volume effusions in my quad. If you look in the central map figure, that sort of salmon color it looks like the underlying intercrater planes isn't completely covered over, and it has intermediate color and roughness, which is why I've called it intermediate planes. It's not necessarily intermediate in age. It could be some of the youngest diffusions from Mercury. They're just very low volume. So I think that's something I need to discuss with Jenny. And if I move on, my final slide, oh no, my second last. So this is the intermediate planes. Evidence for being volcanic is it has vents and things in it. And if I move on to my last slide, I promise. Yes, I wanted to pick the brains of the people who are USGS, ArcGIS wizards. I mapped on the version 0 base map, and now the version 2 controlled one has come out, and my shapefiles are all not lining up very properly. So I was wondering if there was some semi-automated way of getting them all to adjust. So if we get to the discussion section, I think I would be interested to hear if anyone has any bright ideas on to get them, and that will help me line up with Jenny as well. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.